For many viewers, Craig Melvin represents calm continuity. Morning after morning, he delivers the news with clarity and composure, never rushing the moment, never elevating himself above the story. Over time, that steadiness has come to mean something more. It feels earned, as if life itself has taught him when to speak and when to simply listen. Off camera, Craig shares a life with Lindsay Charniak, a partner who understands both ambition and restraint. Together, they embody a truth many couples discover later in life. Strength isn't always visible, and endurance rarely announces itself. Some of the most demanding battles unfold quietly, without applause or explanation. That quiet struggle is something Lady Gaga knows all too well. When Lady Gaga revealed she was living with fibromyalgia, it challenged the public's understanding of chronic pain. Here was an artist known for explosive energy, theatrical brilliance, and fearless reinvention, speaking openly about a condition that causes persistent pain, fatigue, and unpredictability. Fibromyalgia doesn't follow a script. It flares without warning. It forces constant negotiation with one's own body. For viewers in their 60s, this reality feels deeply familiar. Chronic pain, whether diagnosed or unnamed, often becomes part of life with age. It reshapes routines, it limits spontaneity, and perhaps most challenging of all, it's largely invisible. People see you standing, but not the effort it took to get there. Craig Melvin's journalism reflects an understanding of that unseen labor. There's a sensitivity in how he approaches stories of hardship, not performative, not distant, just human. That sensibility mirrors the lesson Lady Gaga learned through fibromyalgia. Pain doesn't diminish purpose, but it does demand honesty. Lady Gaga didn't frame her condition as a career-ending tragedy. She reframed it as a reason to evolve, to pace herself, to create differently. She stepped back when necessary, even as public expectations pushed her forward. That choice resonated strongly with those who have spent decades believing that perseverance means never slowing down. But the truth is, slowing down can be an act of wisdom. Lindsay Charniak understands that dynamic intimately. In long-term partnerships, illness, especially chronic, unpredictable illness, changes the rules. Plans become flexible, support becomes practical. Love reveals itself in adjustments, a rescheduled day, a quieter evening, a willingness to put well-being before productivity. Fibromyalgia forces that kind of recalibration. There are good days and hard ones, days when creativity flows freely, and days when simply managing discomfort is the accomplishment. Lady Gaga spoke about grieving the version of herself who could perform without limits. That grief is something many viewers recognize, not just in health, but in aging itself. There comes a point when you must let go of who you were to protect who you are becoming. Craig Melvin's presence reflects that maturity. He doesn't rush the conversation. He doesn't dominate the space. Instead, he offers something far rarer: balance. For a generation navigating retirement decisions, changing bodies, and shifting identities, that balance feels deeply reassuring. Lady Gaga's advocacy brought visibility to a condition long misunderstood. Fibromyalgia isn't about weakness, it's about endurance. It requires constant self-awareness and courage, especially in a culture that celebrates relentless output. That message lands powerfully with viewers who have spent a lifetime working through pain, often without acknowledgement, who learned to show up regardless, who were taught that rest must be earned. But what if rest is part of resilience? Craig and Lindsay, like Lady Gaga, represent a more evolved understanding of strength, one that values sustainability over spectacle, one that recognizes that caring for the body is not self-indulgence, it's responsibility. Lady Gaga continues to create, not despite fibromyalgia, but alongside it. Her art carries new depth, shaped by lived experience. Craig Melvin continues to inform and connect, grounded by perspective. Neither clings to an outdated version of toughness. For those watching in their 60s and beyond, these stories offer something essential: validation, that pain doesn't erase worth, that adaptation is not defeat,
and that creativity, whether artistic, professional, or personal, can flourish even within limits. Because life after 60 isn't about pushing harder, it's about listening better, about choosing longevity over ego, about finding meaning not in what you endure, but in how you care for yourself and those you love. And in that quieter, more deliberate way of living, there is a strength that deserves recognition, steady, dignified, and deeply human.